Today I'm going to give away a free t-shirt, bring you the book of the week, and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching the Comic Hero Show. Now kick that logo! Welcome to this edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Dudley, and I am the Comic Hero. The summer of superheroes continues, and in this episode, I'm paying tribute to the Armored Avenger, Tony Stark himself, Iron Man. And this is an Iron Man Comic Hero team, and I don't know if y'all can see it, but there is a CH right in the middle of this arc reactor design. And then there, of course, there's the, I have that on the sleeves. And to go along with it, this Iron Man hat that I made myself. Now, before I go on, I want to thank my good friend Brandon Craven for helping me design this shirt. He came up with the whole concept with the arc reactor, and I can honestly say that if it wasn't for him doing that, this shirt would not look the same. And to be honest, I don't think I would have come up with that design, but I'm glad he did, and I ran with it, and the rest is history. So, Dude Chair, thanks so much, brother. Alright, now this shirt got the least amount of votes in a poll with the Batman Comic Hero tee that I wore on the last episode of the show. And because it's got the least amount of votes, I'm wearing it on this episode because it's an even numbered episode. There's another poll that just ended with the Flash and the Hulk. It ended, but I haven't tallied up all the votes yet. So as soon as I do, then the shirt that gets the most amount of votes will be the shirt I wear on the next episode. Then on episode 270 will be the shirt with the least amount of votes. All right, speaking of shirts, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. All right, on episode 266, I asked, which fictitious Eastern European country does Dr. Doom not only hail from, but also rules? Well, the correct answer is Latveria. And 11 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, your names have been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Cheyenne Bankston from West Monroe, Louisiana. So congratulations, Cheyenne. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode, or rather episode 270, and this is a Catwoman question. Who is the third actress to play the role of Catwoman on the 1960s Batman TV show? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on episode 270. Now it's time for the Comic Hero Book of the Week. Let's do this. Alright, my book of the week is The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, this is a new volume that just started last year, and Nick Spencer, who is now the writer of the book, he knew that when he took over last summer that he was going to have to get Spider-Man back to basics. And what I mean by that, it's not in terms of the writing, because Dan Slott had a classical, historical, and, excuse the pun, amazing run on the book. I'm talking about in terms of the character. Now, Spider-Man has gone through a lot, especially in the last volume of the last story arc of the last volume, where Marla Jameson, who is J. Jonah Jameson's wife, and then Flash Thompson, aka Agent Anti-Venom, are both killed by the Red Goblin. Now you're probably wondering, the Red Goblin? Who's that? Well, actually, that's Norman Osborn under the influence of the symbiote Carnage. And he just goes on this killing spree, and he kills like several other people in New York. Well, the back to basics thing kind of gets off to a rocky start. Well, for starters, he ends up rooming with this this reformed villain by the name of Boomerang. Now keep in mind, this is not the same as Captain Boomerang from the DC universe. This is another rogue that calls himself Boomerang. And early on he gets into a lot of trouble, and it's up to the Spider-Man to bail him out, although Boomerang doesn't know that Peter Parker and Spider-Man are one and the same. Which, honestly, I'm thinking, how in the world can he not know that? I mean, they room together. But here's a very, 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 very bright spot that happens in the that happens in this Back to Basics thing. He and Mary J. Watson end up dating again, which is something that just about all of us have been waiting for. I mean, even though their relationship hasn't always been a bed of flowers, I mean, they're still great together. I mean, Spider-Man is to Mary J. Watson as Lois Lane is, as Superman is to Lois Lane. As Jean Grey is to the Cyclops, as I don't know, as the Flash is to Nora West. And then, if that wasn't enough, here's another very bad thing that happens. Someone at Empire State University develops this technology where they find out that this technology that can determine whether a term paper was either authentic or falsified. And they found out that a term paper that Peter had written was similar to a term paper that was written by Otto Octavius. That's unfortunate because a few years ago, Otto Octavius had switched bodies with Spider-Man. And not a lot of folks know that. And so he gets his doctorate stripped from him. But the Lizard, aka Dr. Kirk Connors, goes to the board of directors at Empire State University and the chancellor and begs and pleads for Peter to try again. And that's where we are. Oh, and another thing, there was a story arc called The Hunted, where just when we thought that we'd heard the last of Kraven the Hunter, he's back. But not in the way that you think, though. He enlists the services of Taskmaster, the Black Ant, and one of the most ridiculously underrated superheroes of all time, Arcade, to kidnap every supervillain that has animal names and animal features, and imprisons them in a bubble somewhere in Central Park. And then they were going to go, and then Taskmaster and Black Ant were going after the Lizard, but instead they found his son Billy Connors and kidnaps him instead. And then they also kidnapped the Black Cat. Instead of imprisoning them in the bubble in Central Park, Kraven has them imprisoned in a room in his compound. Now, Kraven ends up inviting some of the richest people in the world to try this new VR technology that he had Arcade develop, where they control these cyborgs or these cybernetic or these robots, and their objective is to kill all the villains trapped inside the bubble in Central Park. Well, Spider-Man finds out about Billy Connors being kidnapped, and he goes after him. But then, in the last story arc, his son, Kraven's son rather, goes up against who he thought was Spider-Man, but then just as he kills him, he unmasked him, and he finds out that it was Kraven. It was his dear old dad the whole time. So in other words, he kills his own father, and then Spider-Man ends up saving the Black Cat and the Lizard, and then lets all the villains go, and that's pretty much it. But the Kraven's son ended up dousing it with this mist early on in the story arc, in which he sees that Mary J. Watson has been murdered, although it's really a hallucination. But ever since then, even after that story arc, he had been on pins and needles with Mary J. He's like, hey, and she's like, hey, I'm alive, I'm not dead. You have nothing to worry about. And he's like, I know, but. And then this mysterious figure, who had been haunting Mysterio, shows up, and he ends up killing Mysterio once and for all. And then he goes, and then he sets his sights on good old Webhead. And the last issue I read was number 25. Really love what Nick Spencer's doing with the book. I kind of raised a few eyebrows with some of the things that he's done earlier, but I started seeing like why he wrote that. And Ryan Otley was the artist, but he is stepping down and making way for new artist Patrick Gleason. Now Gleason has been with DC forever. I mean, he's penciled issues of Batman, the Green Lantern Corps, Superman, Batman. I mean, I could go on and on with everything that he's done. He's done with DC, but now he's part of Marvel, and he's going to start penciling good old Webhead, and I can't wait to read. All right, that's it for the book of the week. Now let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up is Fantastic Four number 12. Wonder Woman number 75. Tony Stark Iron Man number 14. The Flash number 75. The Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Captain America number 12. Action Comics number 1013. And finally, and I'm so excited about this book, House of 10 number 1. All right, that's 8, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 9,506. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Here's a question for a free tee for episode 270. Who is the third actress to play Catwoman on the 1960s Batman TV show? Everyone who answers correctly been entered in the drawing for a free tee on episode 270, and congratulations to Cheyenne Bankston who won a free tee on this episode. All right, Summer Superheroes is winding down. This is the final month, and really enjoyed showcasing these shirts. And again, the poll closed for the Incredible Hulk and the Flash t-shirts. I'm going to tally up the votes as soon as I'm done with this episode. And also GeekCon. GeekCon is only days away. I'm going to be there, and if you're not doing anything this Saturday, I'll see you there. All right, I'm Victor Nully. I'm the Comic Hero. I'll see you next time for episode 269. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and I love y'all 3000.